And welcome, one and all, to our wonderful show once again. And hello, Russ. How's it going?
All right, buddy. How you been?
Good, good. Can't complain. Can't complain. Everything is good. Here, doing a million things at once with two different computers. Last week, I on the evening show on the new retro show. I last week, 4 minutes before I was going to end it, all sorts of technical. Basically, my computer crashed. So I've got my other computer. Okay, uh, there's one. There's another.
Yeah, I was there when Al had to take over.
Yeah, yeah. It's that wasn't fun. That wasn't fun. But especially since I went on the phone. But I know you guys might have heard me on the phone. But it was I was totally frozen on the phone. And well, bottom line is, and it took forever for this thing to boot up. And by that time, the show's over. So I was gonna make sure that I have the other computer over here running. I'm gonna have that one. That one doesn't crash. The good one, oddly enough, crashes. There's a problem with Apple's 2013 model of iMac had an issue with the and it's all inside the damn computer. It's not like the
Yeah.
old days where you can pluck stuff out and just swap it. The graphics card basically overheats, and well, it can't stand it. So let
You're
me
gonna
just.
you are gonna have the podcast tonight.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely, absolutely.
All right.
Tonight we'll be talking about Saturday morning cartoons.
Oh yeah.
So let's say hello to the folks out there. It's Mako Shark is out there. Good evening, Herb. Good evening, Dave C. Woodshop Dog. That's Steve. Kevin Els is here. Oh, that's fantastic. I haven't seen Kevin in a while.
In a
And
while.
Kevin Wilkinson from Philadelphia.
Philadelphia.
And then there, of course, is Paul, X3CNC. And for now, there's probably a few others in there that
Andrew Hay
they'll. Oh,
joining
wow,
us.
Andrew's there. I didn't see that. And Bruce. There you go. There you go. I missed those two. Bruce from the Philippines, Andrew from Central Florida. We
Hello,
got them
Kevin
from all over.
and Paul.
And of course, Paul. So,
Woodshop Dog had a comment. He said he knows what the problem with your computers are. Is they're Apple? Thought you said it was a good computer.
hey, I've got.
I
I
was
think
gonna
I've
say
got. I
that, but
think. I think at last count, I've got 7 apples here at home and 13 PCs.
dang.
So,
All right, we're in the lead, buddy.
yeah. But the PCs are all connected, proprietary to each individual CNC and things like that. They're the workhorses, while the apples are the luxury computers where I they're the ones that I spoil myself with. So it is what it is.
That's okay. Whenever the AIs rise up, we got 13 to however many apples you got, we'll win.
That's true. That's true. That's true. We'll see. We'll see about
Rise
that.
of the machine.
All righty. So let's move on to our wonderful day here. Let's see if I can hang on a second. I gotta. Okay, it's I gotta start up my Windows here. My Windows on my Apple. So let's do that.
Can't have one without the other.
Other. So let's go to Windows. My wonderful Windows 10, and oh, see, that's another beautiful thing. Is I don't know about the younger generation, but folks, I am so comfortable with the desktop. I mean, it is the desktop for me is everything. Um, it, it, I I cannot work efficiently on a phone. There are kids who do everything, editing and this and that on a pad or on a phone. I can't do it. I got to sit behind a computer. For me, it's mouse and keyboard. I mean, that's the way it is. But well,
Same here.
Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, I grew up this way, but it's not just that. It's nothing beats the power of a desktop. I don't care
Hmm.
how much power you try to stick in a in a in a tablet, but I mean, they come. I've got three tablets, so they're okay. But all
Yeah,
right, so here we go. Let's.
yeah. Kids today are going to grow up with carpal tunnel in their thumbs. That's all they want to do
Yeah,
on their
I wouldn't doubt it.
phones.
I wouldn't doubt it. Um, Now all they do is type. They don't do any real work like drills or hammers and stuff like we
No,
did.
there's none of that.
I got to tell you, I get carpal tunnel from. Well, you know what it is when a combination of getting older
Hmm.
and not doing something on a regular basis. When I was a carpenter, when I was a foreman, when I was whatever position I had in construction, I did it on a regular basis. Yeah, I was exhausted when I got home, but I was lean. And I none of this carpal tunnel stuff, none of these muscle aches. It's just plain sore from the end of a long day of carrying blocks or wood or whatever, bending down to pick up nails, whatever the case may be. But nowadays, I'll go over to the property and unless I'm doing it for a solid week or two, those first couple days of picking up logs, the next, we all know,
Oh
we
yeah.
feel it. And the same thing happens with carpal tunnelness of our the same thing happens with our fingers. When I I came this close to having my hand operated on, and thank God I didn't. All I can say for those of you considering it, because you're losing carpal tunnel, you're losing. I lost sensation here, and it was because I was drilling. I was using holding a drill a lot and drilling a lot of stuff. I was doing a lot of heavy intensive work, which made my whole entire wrist swollen to the fact that little tunnel it it swelled up and
Exactly.
pinched all the
Pinch the
nerves.
nerves. Yep.
Well, there's an easy solution. Number one, take it easy, let it rest.
Hmm.
And number two, there's people out there. Oh no, I'll take a cortisone shot. Yeah, so you'll have to take them for the rest of your life. That it's a stopgap measure. I mean, yeah, okay, cortisone shots work for what they work, but all it does is it's like a high intensity Advil is what that is. But eventually it'll come back.
Yeah, it sure does.
Take a couple Advil. I mean, I'm all for that. And then but the key is don't overdo it. It's that balance. Everything I always talk about balance. Well, it's balance. So let's okay. Now today we're gonna work on a box like we did yesterday. But yesterday what we did was we yesterday last week
Last week, man.
what I did was let me put the camera on this side. Hang on. Because with Al, I'm talking to him on the other side. With you, I have you. Actually, you know what I can do? Let me leave it here where it was. Make everybody dizzy. All right. Because I'm looking this way. But
Hmm.
now what I'll do is this. There you go. Now I'm looking at
There we go.
you. Anyway, um, what I did last week was, for those of you that were here, we basically got a thick piece, say anything from a 3/4 to an inch and a half of a piece of wood, and we burrowed out the dug out, pocketed the center. So that's a really easy. That's probably the easiest box you can do. Is take a whole piece of wood, just carve out the middle. Take a whole piece of wood, carve out the middle. There you got two that fit right on top of each other, and cut a little centerpiece just inside so you have a lip. Well, that's one way. Another way, and by the way, good evening, Ed. Good to see you. Um, and the other way to do it is what I'm going to do now, which is okay. Let me give you the third way is the way I'll do it now. Let me give you the second way. The second way, which is again one of the easiest, is you know what your pieces are. You can pretty much do the measurements and account for the sides and the width of the wood, and you could just cut rectangles. Just cut rectangles, slap them all together. There's a box. Okay, there's a nice simple box. Here's a third way. And this way it's a little more wasteful, but there's some advantages, and I'll show them to you right now. So the way we're going to do it now is we're going to do the box all out of one piece of wood. So let's pick a size for the box. Let's do a nice. Let's make it easy. Let's start with a 6x6 box, a cube. All right, a 6x6x6 cube. All right, so that's pretty simple. What we'll do is, and I'm going to go really quick through this. But basically, starting at the bottom left, I'm going to start at the X6 position, 6-0. I'm going to make my first square of 6x6. What was that, Russ? Oh, sorry about that. Forgot to do that. Okay, here we go.
I realize I'm the eye candy, but they came for this.
I appreciate it. Yeah, there you go. There you go. All right, so I keep forgetting to switch back. Okay, so you got your 6x6 box. Okay, so I'm going to start at 0, 6. Nope, sorry, 6-0, and click apply. Boom. So I created a box there. Why did I start 6 over? Well, you'll see now. I'll do the rest of them really fast. I'll do 0, 6, apply. Oh, shoot. I gotta do the. I gotta unclick on it first. Mm-hmm. Click away, go back, and then 0, 6. Create. And then I'll create another one here at 6, 6, and another one here at 12, 6. And then another one here. And you know what? Just to make it complete, I could do this one. This one is optional, by the way, the top one. Now, for those of you guys that have built boxes out of cardboard, you know that all you have to do now is fold these 4 up, and this one over here is the lid. Okay? So that's nice and simple. Let's just get rid of this one because we're just doing a simple box. We'll worry about the lid later. Simple box, 4 sides on the outsides of the cross, and the centerpiece is really the bottom piece. All right, now what are we going to do? We're going to do the following. We're going to create lines because I don't want to waste time carving out every single thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a line from here, actually above here a little bit, all the way down to below here a little bit. And then hit the space bar, create another line from here to here. Space bar, a line from here to here. Space bar, a line from here straight down to here. Now the reason I did these lines is the following. I'm going to select, I'm unselecting, by the way, the cubes. And I unselected lines by accident. Okay, I'm just selecting the 4 lines that we made. You notice where they are. You can see them. Let me zoom in. Here we go. You can see the 4 lines cross the boxes here. All right, so now let's go to the toolpath, and we'll start our first setup, which is, first of all, let me lock this down. Okay, we'll do a profile path, and we're going to cut almost to the edge, to the end. We're not going to do a full depth of cut. We're going to do, let's say this was a 3/4 inch 3/4 inch deep piece of wood, plywood. Now we're going to go 0.72, let's say. 0.003 of an inch higher. It depends how precise your equipment is. And I'm going to do on the line. All right. I'm going to do on the line. I'm not worried about the passes right now. We could do this in one pass, but I am going to choose the V bit, and it's going to be the 90-degree V bit. Now I had a 90-degree. Oh, here, this is a 1.25 inch. I have a nice big wide one there. Okay, so there's our 90-degree V bit, and then so here's what it'll look like. Calculate and reset preview. Preview all toolpaths. Boom. You'll notice that right now, if this were cut out, I could fold this up, fold this up, fold this in, fold this over. And there's just enough here on the edges, just enough here on these on the edges of this bottom piece that I could just, if you're careful. Now, what I would recommend is underneath the 4 lines of the edges, put a piece of blue tape.
Yeah.
Line some glue right here, and then put some glue on the top edges, just on one side. So you could do, for instance, the 2 vertical lines all the way up and down, and then just the inside horizontals. And then you could actually fold up the pieces. Except we're missing one important factor, and that is we're going to take. Now I'm selecting everything else. I deselected. I selected all, but I hit the shift key. So I deselected the 4 lines, and I selected all of these. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to unite them all. And that's not really united. Yep, it is united. Okay, so let me show you what it looks like, because you can't see it because of these things. So let me get rid of these 4 lines, or rather, let me move to layer, new layer. Let's make the layer invisible, and we'll call this layer V-carve, whatever. Okay. We just moved them off to another layer. Here's the outside. The outside's a simple profile, folks. Simple profile. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that. We're going to go profile, and it's going to be a 1/4 inch or whatever you wish to use. 1/4 inch, end mill, select, outside, and we're going to go the full depth, the 75. And right now I'm not going to worry about the... I'm not worried about the... I'm not worried about anything right now, actually. Okay, so reset preview, preview all toolpaths. We just cut out, as you can tell. Let me zoom in here. We just cut out the box. So let's get rid of this. And let's get rid of this. You have your simple box, and you can see you have 4 flat tops. Now, another way to do this. The only issue with this box is you will have to do a very, very minor cleanup, and that is, let me show you. Look at these edges right here.
Yeah.
You'll notice, and for those of you experienced, you know that you're doing a, obviously if you use a 1/16, it'll be less of an edge, but I used a 1/4 inch, so the radius is there. I'm not going to go crazy and do a bull nose here, because then it'll leave a tiny little niche at the end of the box. But be aware that you might have to put a little bit of chisel into this thing before you fold it. But now, okay, so you've got the box. You've got it to a position where you can fold it. So, oops, what happened here? Stupid mail. Go away, mail. And quit. I hate when Apple does that. There's another thing that bugs me about him. His mail takes over half the screen. Oh, hey, this is important. No, it's not. Shut up.
Chris Copenhagen just joined us.
Hey, Chris, welcome. All right, so folks, you saw the... let me see, where am I here? Here we go. So you see the box that we created. And again, imagine those little tiny little rounded corners weren't there. Put a tape behind this area here. Put a tape behind this area, behind this, and behind that. In other words, uh, basically the bottom pieces, and have your tape handy, because what you're going to do is you're going to raise these two carefully while trying to keep this edge, because it will snap. But then when you line them up together, again, like I said, you put glue on either the verticals or the horizontals. I'll just, for now, I'll put all the vertical side, a vertical strip, a vertical strip, and then these two little horizontals, because you don't need a second layer of glue on these things. And now you put them all together and tape the corners, let it sit for half an hour, you got yourself a completed box. What about the lid, you say? Well, we'll do that now. But this is a very, very simple box. Let me do one more thing, because this was a simple cube box. There's a lot of people, and I do understand, there's a lot of people that can't imagine how to do one of these with longer or thinner sides. Well, that's very, very simple. Well, there's two ways to do it. Number one, you could take this right now exactly as it is, and let's say you wanted to make a 4x6 box. Well, guess what? It's a simple scaling issue. You could scale it now. Let's go to the scale, and we'll scale it on the bottom. No, let's scale it in the middle. We'll move it later. Scale it, and I'm going to scale it. I'm not going to link the X and Y. Take that off. The width, which is the X, I'm going to shrink 66.67. It's basically going to be 2/3.
2/3.
2/3 of 6 is 4, and I'm making a 4 wide by 6 long box. The other one, 100%. Apply. There it is. It's just that simple. So rather than walk you through an entire build like this again, I'll just point out, hopefully you can see something about this box that's wrong. And that is this area. Sorry, let me, yeah, you can, I forgot, I had to use, let me undo this real quick, because we can't do it. We can't do it while it's complete. There's one problem that we face with it. Let me do let me go back to the, let's see, 6x6. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me get rid of this. Original cube, and let me do that last one. All right, so oops, it's 0 here. Okay, okay, so we're back to our 5 individual cubes, and the reason why I wanted to do that is because we need the 5 individual cubes. Let me go back. We'll scale again like we did. Let me do it from the left this time. We'll scale this at 66.6667%, whatever. And now we have, let me move this over here. Okay. So we have our box. Now, if you close it in, well, this is nice. It'll be 4 inches high. This is nice. It'll be 4 inches high. This is 4 inches wide. But guess what? These have to be 4 inches high. And if you fold them up, you're going to have 2 pieces sticking up the wrong way. So this one, we just shrink this way again, 66 point, the same percentage that you did. Boom. And then this one, from the top, we shrink it. Now, this is the easy way of doing this. You know, you don't have to have these lines this long. You could just simply shrink them. You want the lines to extend a little bit, okay? And the reason being is, I'll show you now. The reason you want these vertical lines over here to extend is because imagine your V groove bit. If you stop it here, you've got a V groove here and here, but uh, well, you're better off having overlap. So when you cut this one off, it's going to form a nice, simple, and I mean, it kind of really doesn't matter, but because imagine your V bit cut. Your V bit cut, if it stops right at the edge, yeah, let's just do it for.
Well, it looks like it gives you a good mitered edge.
It would be a good mitered edge, yeah. I mean, I was looking at it again, and it would be a good mitered edge. But I always, when it comes to ends like this, I always like to extend it because you never know. Sometimes it gives you a good edge, sometimes it doesn't. But another wonderful thing is you get to now it's very difficult to grab the edges of you grab this one, and I'll let me group this. Grab this one and this one. Group again, and then both of these. Good. Group. All right, so now they're all grouped, and I will select everything holding the shift key. Now I've selected the other box. I will weld it. Now I just took out the middles, but there seems to be a problem here. So
Say hello to Marcello. He just joined us.
Hey, Marcello, how's it going? Let me extend this one, and then that way I can grab that original one. Wait a second. Okay, so then now I do this, and then I do this. All right, I just made my cross again. And again, it's, as you see here, the height and width. Well, anyway, let's go ahead and we have our tool paths. So let's do the profile. Will be there. Profile 2 will be there. And now we reset the preview and preview all tool paths. All right, so it did cut okay. I mean, obviously, it's not a problem. But in some cases, you're going to find that you do not want to cut it that close. Because if you stop right here, you're basically right now, the way we have it, that V groove bit, that V bit, it stops right here on this tip, which it's fine here, a little bit less, and there would have been a curve here.
Right.
So clearly this is fine, but don't take any chances, because while your machine is fine, you might as well have a little extra play. But anyway, getting back to, I mean, that I just like to always have a little extra play when it comes to the to those kind of cuts, particularly if I'm doing something like with a roundover, because obviously if I did this with a roundover and I stopped here, this piece here wouldn't have a straight edge. It would curve off this way, which if you're cutting it, no big deal. But I mean, I'm sorry, end mill. I didn't mean roundover. But anyway, I digress. So the reason I made this smaller is to show you, I'm not going to create one from scratch again, but if you wanted to create a small box, what you got to do is, the easiest way is to make it a square like this. In fact, this also works. Let's say you want to create the 4 sides of the box. You want to know what the 4 sides are. I mean, most of us can pretty much commonsensically know that it's 4 by 6. So you've got a bottom that's 4 by 6. You've got the side. Now, what if you wanted this to be 2 inches tall instead of 4 inches tall? Now you have 3 different dimensions. You have the 4 by 6 base. You have a 2 by 6 and a 2 by 6 side, and you have a 2 by 4 and 2 by 4 side, you know, and then it gets even more complicated because what if you're not doing V grooves like I just did and you are overlapping them? Where do you overlap? Now, and this is where it gets complicated with boxes. Let's say I have, I'm just going to draw the 4 sides of a box here and pretty much get rid of everything else. Okay, that we can get rid of. That, 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 that. Shoot. Just want to get rid of that. All right, so we have our 4 individual boxes. We have the middle one and we have the other 3. Okay, so let's say, like I said, you wanted it 2 inches high. So now this has got to be 2 inches. This has got to be 2 inches. This has got to be 2 inches. The advantage of sometimes of doing it this way is that it's got to be 2 inches. Okay, so this is fine if you were going to do this type of box. Again, this type of box with the V grooves. But if you're going to do an actual just cut it out with a table saw kind of, or just have the router cut a bunch of squares, now you got a problem. This is 3/4 of an inch thick. If you made a box like this, if you can follow me, if you will, you're basically going to be missing a corner here, a corner here, a corner here, and a corner here. So you have 2 choices. You either make these 3/4 of an inch longer. I'll just assume that's 3/4 of an inch on both sides. And then that way now these can come up and again, this will be flush with these, you know. Anyways, I'm not going to get into the logistics of making a box, but because this part, hopefully, you guys know how to make a simple box. But again, the reason why I'm going over this is because for the few of you that have difficulty with this, that earlier lesson with this way of making a box combined with last week with the really simple method of just get a piece of wood and hollow out the middle, and those are 2 ways of making a box. The 2 easy ways with a router that you can make a box. Now, there's one more thing also that I can share with you guys is for those of you that have ever worked with bandsaws, those of you that have ever worked with bandsaws and have made bandsaw boxes, that's a whole other technique as well, because you could actually make, not with the router so much, but more with a bandsaw or with a very sharp and slow scroll saw. you could get a thick piece of wood, carve out whatever shape you wanted, and basically you have your top, bottom, and sides. So instead of working with a box this way, or again, you could do the same thing here. You could have get a thick piece of wood, because your router could do 2 inches. Mine does. So get a 2-inch thick piece of wood, carve out the profile of the outside, but first hollow out completely the inside. I don't know why you would want to do this, because you could easily do a pocket cut. But if you wanted to do a whole, let's say you wanted a 2-tone box where the sides of the box were all maple and the bottom and the top were walnut, then by all means, you could just a very, very simple way of doing it rather than cutting all the pieces to assemble the four sides is just simply get a thick piece. If you're going to make a short box, get a thick piece like 2 inches, hollow out the whole middle, carve out the edges. You've got all four sides. And you can use the router as well to create some sort of a fancy bottom or a fancy top. Glue the bottom, put the top with magnets. There's your box. All right, enough about boxes. Do you guys have any, including you, Russ? Do you have any anything you would like to see made? Because we still got a good 25 minutes.
I don't have any particular item in mind, unless you want to build a toy box real quick. I've still got to do that.
Well, what? How are you going to build it differently than any one of my techniques?
I have no idea. I've never
I
built
mean,
one, so I've got to. It's
oh,
just
you
gonna
mean a
probably,
large size toy
yeah,
box?
it's going to be a regular toy box, a regular size.
Okay.
At least 2 wide and 4 long, but maybe longer than
All
that.
right, 2 wide and 4 long. Let's assume. Let me
And
build one 2 by 3, just for the sake of and now this is going to be really really simple, but I'll just throw this in here for you guys. Let's go ahead and get rid of all of this. And now my table is 2 foot by 3 foot. So what we'll do is we're going to make it approximate. Let's just go the full width, 2 foot wide by, let's say, let's see, it's by 3 foot. So we can go 18 inches high. Just you could adjust your whatever you want. So let's put. I'm going to start with at 12. I'm going to start with my little a guide. I'll just grab a guide here and put it at 12 inches at the center. Hey, why didn't it take my guide? There. Well, okay. There we go. We have our guide because I wasn't in the right. I was still using the sticks. Okay, so
we can't see it.
oh, I'm sorry about that. Again with this, keep forgetting. All right, so all I did was grab from here, grab the guide, put it on there. Okay, we have a guide in the middle of the thing at 12 inches. Now, let's go ahead and say we're going to make a rounded top chest is what we'll do. So we'll do something simple like this. We'll do the height will be let's see, 18. Okay, so 18 is the center. So if we were going to do the center, we'd go 18. But we want to make it rounded, so I'm going to take away, say, 3 inches. I'll go to 15. Okay, so now it's 2 foot by 15 inches. And what I'll do now is I will take there's 2 ways of doing it. One way is an arc. The other way is what I like to do is use an ellipse. So I'll grab this ellipse. Undo that. We'll grab it right from the middle here. We'll go right to the edge, but we'll go up to our 6 inch height is 3 inches on the radius, and 3 inches is exactly from the 15-inch mark here to the 18-inch mark, which is the center here. So there it is. We made our top, if you will. All right. So now we close. We take our little cutting tool. We'll get rid of this. We'll get rid of this. And we have just made the sides, the 2 sides of the box. What? There's only one there? Oh, that's easy. We take copy, we paste, and then we flip it about the job center horizontally. No, sorry, vertically. There it is. All right. So we have our two sides. Well, I'm not going to bore you, but basically cut your two sides. Okay, you're done. Another piece is going to be clearly minus twice the width of, let's say you got 3/4 inch, so it's going to be 1.5 inches less. It's going to be a rectangle. I will draw it for you here. It's going to be a rectangle of 2 foot by, let's see, 1.5 inches less. So we're looking at 34.5 inches. There's your bottom. Why is that your bottom? Because your sides are going to fit in your bottom. Now you got to cut your front, you got to cut your back, and that's another simple thing. It's how high are you going to cut them? Well, that's pretty easy. First of all, let's take our well, actually, I don't even need to do that. I already know the height here. The height from here to here is 15 inches. So clearly, we'll just do this 15 inches. And there's our side, our front and our back. All right, so now we have our front, our back, side to side, and our bottoms. All right, what do we do with the rest? Well, now comes the complicated part.
Yeah.
But it's not really that complicated when you think about it. The question is, how small do you want these things to be? So all you got to do is just get a nice little, say 3/4 inch high, 3/4 inch high by 3/4 inch high by let's make them 2 inches wide each. All right, so now they're 2 inches wide. All you really have to do, and this is the part where the easiest thing to do really is just cut a bunch of them and staple them, and that's it. But let's say,
would you bevel them?
yeah, and that's the next step. All right, so now you know how long the box is. The box is 3 foot from edge to edge. So imagine, if you will, you are now putting these pieces. Let me just put a few of them here just to show you what we're doing. If you look at the side of the box, all right, so let me scroll this down, and I'm just going to pivot it here. Whatever, to about here. So you pretty much get the idea. I mean, you know what you're doing. Yeah. We're just doing one of these things. So I'm just giving people here at home an idea of what we're doing. And so that's good enough for now. By the way, once you get to the middle, like I just did, then it's a simple matter of duplicating these, and but this is just for illustration purposes, because we're not cutting anything this small. What we are doing, though, is taking a 2-inch piece by, you know, your length, you know, the if you turn this to the side, you know it's 36 inches. So you're going to cut simply a 2-inch Let's see. We're going to start at 0, 0. We're going to do 2 inches by 36 inches. There's our first piece. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the rest of this box because because you've seen it. Now, this piece, and there's going to be quite a number of them like it, you're going to have to bevel it to a certain degree. Now, hopefully, you have a very, very, very small angle bevel. So, like, say a 11 degree. They do sell 11 degree V bits.
Yeah, they do.
And if you do have an 11 degree V bit, then what I would highly recommend is obviously make this longer. Obviously, it's not going to work because it's longer than my table. But assuming it works, make this longer. And here is a practical reason. So I'm glad you gave me this example because here's a practical reason why you want this longer. Right? You want, yes, over here it's going to cut the air or it's going to cut garbage. You don't care about that. But here's what happens. Now, I'm going to create a line here. Oh. And no, actually, I can't create a line. I can do I'll do a square here. I'll do a square. I'll just do a big square. And I will do a bunch of these. Copy, paste. Why am I doing this the hard way? They do have a function for this. It's called matrix. Zero gap. Zero gap. How many columns? Let's see, what is it? 24, so we'll do 12. Boom. Okay, we've just made our things. Now, what we'll do is, on all of these, we'll do a profile. In fact, it's just so handy that I happen to have a profile here. So we'll do a profile, but not with a 90 degree V-bit. Let's select a, I don't have one here. Let's select a, well, we'll make it a 30 degree V-bit just for now, but let me see if I can duplicate this.
Another example of how to make a tool, folks.
Another example of how to make a tool. Well, we're going to go ahead and make a 22 degree, which now, remember, folks, a 22 degree V-bit will have a side angle of 11 degrees.
Right.
In other words, it's 22 from one side. From this side to this side, it's 22 degrees. But from the middle to one of the sides, it's 11. So, close that. All right, so we did that. And we'll make it the full depth, 75. Oh, what am I missing? There we go. Okay, so we have our 22 degree V-bit. Calculate, boom. So now if we calculate these, let's go ahead and reset and preview all toolpaths. We have, if you, the second profile still there. Look how thin, look how beveled it is.
Yeah.
So now, I mean, obviously you got to play with it because the bevels on the end are going to be different. Unless, and this is where, let's see, how much time do I have? 10 minutes. I got just enough time to share with you a semicircular one. Okay, so the profile, let's just finish this off. The profile is going to be this, oops, sorry. This outer one. Why isn't it there? There it is. Nope, that's not it. Oh, this is what I want. There we go. And so calculate. Okay, so now if we reset the preview all toolpaths, we have all of them, and it has cut out. You can't see it, but it has cut out a flat piece. And this is the reason, folks. This is the reason I said this is very, very handy. Hang on, let me see if I can go to the edge here. This is the reason why you would want, let's say you have a big board, and now you're cutting out a profile. If I were to have these boxes right at the edge, you just screwed up your piece, because now this whole edge has a bevel.
Yeah.
You need this edge to be flat. You want the bevel only on the sides. So look what I did. I put the bevel all the way around, but it's cutting air over here. Well, I call it cutting air. It's cutting a scrap piece that you don't even use, whatever. But then here, you're actually cutting the here you're not cutting anything on the left and right, but on the top and on the bottom, you're shearing off those other little edge pieces. Here, I'll better demonstrate it this way. I will better demonstrate it this way.
Hitch just joined us while you're thinking about
it. Hey, Hitch, how's it going? All right, so what I'm going to do now is recalculate all toolpaths and then show you why I did what I did. All right, so you'll see how it bevels everything, right? Now let's go back up to the top here where we were. If I were to just leave the bevel, this top part is beveled in here. I mean, I can get rid of this, but this top part is beveled. So I'd have a beveled edge. But what I basically did with the V-groove, I mean, rather with the end mill, is I sheared off at exactly where I wanted it, the edge. So now this part's flat, so you can build your box top, with that. Okay, so now let's go back to the original box top. Let me go ahead and let's get rid of this. Let's quickly do a box. Now, here's what we want to do. We want to make it, let's say we're going to make it completely circular. That means the following. That means I have a diameter of 12 inches, which also means I have a height of 12 inches. So let's say I move this to the 15-inch mark, the circle. Well, let's say I create this here. So you got a little more space, and let's just go 24 by 18. Oh, that's a circle. I don't want a circle.
Hello, Troy.
I want a square. Who's there?
Troy Pritchard.
Hey, Troy, how's it going? All right, so let's say I do a 18 by 24, again with the rounded corners. Here we go.
Come on, man.
Let's say I do a square. Now I do the square. I have my circle, and I'll move my circle right to the edge. And I'll do exactly what I did before, which is I'll take my scissors, I'll cut this off, and I have now a rounded top. Well, the advantage to this is that you now have a top that it's not a tight curve here and a slow curve here. You could actually do one bevel for everything. Now, if you're at 2 inches, here, watch carefully what I'm doing. I'm drawing a line from here to here. All right. Now, I'm going to rotate. You know me and this circular copy tool. I love this circular copy tool. Now, this is where you might want to do a little bit of math. Okay, and I hate to do it, but I'll run through the math real quick. Radius is 12 inches. All right. So let's get our little calculator out here. Our radius, no, we need, hang on a second. Let me get the PC calculator, not the, Let's see if I remember my PC. I just type calc and that's it. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so let's get our calculator here. And now we need to know, if you guys remember, pi d is the circumference of a circle. Pi d.
Pi d.
So pi d, now the radius is 12. So what's pi r? Pi r is actually half of the circumference of a circle. R is half. It does translate. It does equate. Trust me on this. So 3.14159266353. I won't go on with pi, but basically pi. If you have a pi on your calculator, even better. Times R, 12. So we're looking at roughly 37.7 inches. Okay? 37.7 inches. I'll just call it 38. 38 inches. So 38 inches along this edge here. Which means if I were to do 2-inch pieces, I would need 17 of them. You know, I want to make it simple for myself. So what I'm going to do first is, let's say, and the reason why I calculated it is because I wanted a piece about 2 inches. So you need about 17 of them for the top. Well, guess what? 16 will work perfectly fine. And 18, make them a little smaller, will work perfectly fine. And guess what? 18 is divisible into 360 nice and easily. So the step angle will be 18. And I'm going to ask for... let me see. No, wait. I'll do it this way. Total angle is 180. And I want 18 items in there. Yeah. I'm rotating the wrong thing. Let's try this again, folks. Now, the center that I'm doing it is, let's see, that's going to be 1218. Okay, so rotational center, 1218. Number of items, 18. I hope there's not too many 18s up there because I'm confusing everybody. 180 because I'm going from here all the way to this side. Yeah. 18 pieces is what I want, so to approximate them being 2 inches each. And then from on 12 on the X, 18 high on the Y. I want this to be the center of rotation. So copy, and it should, boom, go right there.
Look at there.
And actually, we want 19 because we want to include the last one.
Yeah, you was a little
because, hey, wait a second. What happened? Oh, I know. No. See, total angle 180. Okay, 18 is fine. No, because it'll divide it. Doesn't matter. 18. Now, the total step angle, another way we could have done it is the total step angle. We divide 18 into 360. And we're looking at 18 into 360 is 20. That's twice as many. We got to put that in half. So that's 10 degrees. 10 degrees times 18 copies is 180 degrees.
180 degrees.
So there you go. Boom. And you know what? This time we could do 19 of them. And that'll go all the way to the 180. Well, anyway, this is a simple way. And now why are we putting these lines here? Because now we can actually zoom in and we can go from here to here. Hang on. And we could see that the length, let me see, start point, radius, X and Y. Well, let me just, whatever. I need a line. There we go. From here to here. Length is how close did I come? 2.09. That's not bad. You know what? I could fill that in with caulking. So, well, the bottom line is, you could butt them all together, and you could always make the edges a little higher. So now you got 2-inch And okay, remember, I just measured from this point to this point. Now, if you were to measure, say, from here, oh, sorry, let me get my little line again. From here in a straight line to here, because remember, you're nailing off the top of the box. Now it's 2.1 inches. Okay, so really 2.1 is what you're looking at. And then, you got a bevel, and you got your square. So this is what those squares will look like, assuming that's a. Now, how big is that bevel? Well, guess what? We already did that math. It's 18 degrees each one of these. Rather, I'm sorry, 10 degrees,
10 degrees
is each one of these. So what if you were to want to make the perfect lid for this box, you need to find yourself a 20-degree V-bit. And they got them. Some specialty places anyways. So I hope that helps people around there, It's simple geometry, but there's nothing simple about it.
We did have a question up there. Mako had asked about.
Yeah.
Unrelated to that, D carving, would a 2-flute or a 4-flute, which would be better? Consensus was 2 flutes.
2-flute, definitely, but for what is the question?
That is correct. That was unspecified.
The thing is, it depends. With routers, 2-flutes is nice because 4-flute is great, except 4-flute with wood.
That's more for metal, right?
It's not really 2-flute. Here's the thing: even 2 and 3-flute are great for metal, and for wood. You want the chips with metal. You want the chips to fly out and dissipate the heat of the blade.
Yeah.
You never want to be rubbing, and just have the heat build up, and then the blade builds up, and then it transfers to the shaft. The shaft heats up, and then you only go up for a second, but the shaft is still holding on to that heat. So as soon as you come back down again, you're starting from a high temperature. So that's the worst thing you want. Now, compression bits. I'll get onto that subject in a second. But as far as how many flutes, 1 flute is generally great for most things, but it's not balanced, not perfectly balanced by the nature of the design, and it shaves off a lot. But it's more for it's like a rip saw. It's for hogging things out, but it's not going to leave you a fine edge. If you want a truly fine cut, what I would recommend is cutting everything with a 2-flute and then going back like 0.00. I mean, cutting everything 0.001 bigger, and then going back final pass with a 4-flute 0.001 only. You shave that off with a 4-flute. That's I don't want to say it's like buffing it, but it would get rid of it. And by the way, folks, test your feeds and speeds. Any newbies that are out there, don't ask the question that every newbie asks. Hey, what feeds and speeds should I use? It depends on so many things that I cannot give you one solid answer. The closest I can come is most jobs with wood, with a 2-flute bit, with a 1/4 inch 2-flute end mill, will be between 70 and 120. That start there is all I could say. But
very broad.
But it depends. Depends on your machine.
Yeah.
Does your machine flex a lot? Go a hell of a lot slower. Go slower in speeds and in feeds. Does your machine, is it like super rigid, like a Tormach, or not a Tormach, whatever it's called, or a Cam Master here? I mean, you can go full bore, get yourself a big 1/2 inch thick pick and just. I mean, mine won't stop for anything, unless I put like a 1.5 inch thick bit. Then I can bog that spindle down. Anyway, getting back to compression bits. A compression bit is handy. Um, I used to I used to use before I got into compression bits. I used to do the following, like for my hobby boxes. I want a clean edge. It's all basically cutting out shapes out of plywood. It's no carving. It's just shapes. Whether you're cutting out a square, whether you're cutting out intricate shapes, you are slicing through the entire length of plywood. Plywood has a lot of gum in it, a lot of resin, a lot of glue. It gums up blades. I mean, you can go through quite a few
Yeah.
blades or dull them very very quickly if you don't have good quality blades. And even the good quality blades, they gum up. Keep keep them clean. Keep naphtha around and keep the blades clean as often as you can, because the glue itself. This is just another lesson in maintenance. The glue itself builds up. The pitch builds up on the blade. Then pretty soon, it's not that the blade is dull, it's that the blade is covered with a layer of glue. So now you're pushing
Yeah.
glue and you're tearing apart your thing, and exponentially it's gaining more glue. You are burnishing at this point. You are heating up the bit. Now you've just dulled your bit, because now that's what does it, the heat, more than anything else. Yeah, sure, if you run into a piece of steel or a screw or something, that's going to dull your bit real fast. But let me tell you, heat is what does it every time. You keep your bit cool, you're cutting into soft materials, or keep your bit clean, and that bit's going to last you a long time. Compression bits. I used to use a down cut first, a quarter-inch down cut for the top half of the cut, and then I would use an upcut for the bottom half of the cut to make sure I'd have the bottom clean. Because when I use a down cut on everything, unless I'm using a sacrificial board, and then you're going through a lot of wood, but if you're going through a sacrificial board, by all means, just use a down cut the whole way. Because when two boards are placed together and you're using a down cut, it doesn't matter. You're cutting halfway through the second board. That first board is clean. It's got something pressing against it, so not a problem.
Hmm.
I like to use my I go right to the surface of my spoil board. My machine's very precise. So down cut for half of it. Let's pretend this is the entire thickness of a 3/4 inch ply. I go down cut for 3/8 of it. Then I go up cut for the second half of it. So the down cut is pushing the edge down of the cut, and then the up cut is pulling the edge up. A compression bit is the following. A compression bit has a tiny, tiny, tiny little amount that's an upcut on the very tip. And then the rest of it is all down cut. So you're looking at it, if this was your down cut bit, let's say this is the length of the bit. This little piece right here, this little white tip, is the upcut. Everything else is the down cut. And the reason why is now you're cutting a piece of wood. Now, clearly, you're not going to, if it's a 3/4 inch piece of wood, most people are not going to go, let me just go down and cut the whole 3/4 at once. No, no, no. You don't want to do that. But you can go, let's say this is an eighth of an inch. You can go down an eighth of an inch, just past an eighth of an inch, where it begins to be a down cut. Now, the bottom, who cares? It's an upcut, but it doesn't matter. The whole thing is cutting, and the where the top edge meets, that is now being pushed as a down cut. So you do your first pass. Now your second pass, if you want, if you could do it in two passes, do half and then half. That's fine, or do it in three passes. But that's why the compression bit has such a very very small amount of upcut, because you want to, on your first pass, you want to go past it, so you're always, the top edge of your board is always going to be cut with a down cut, with the down cut section. Then your second pass, whoosh, go all the way to the edge. You see that tip there is rubbing up against the very very edge. You can even go like a 0.05 more if you've got a sacrificial piece. it's doing an upcut, it's doing a downcut from the top, and you have just got a clean edge on both sides. Trust me on this, because I get a clean edge on both sides. And
Chris asked, where does
where does
everyone
everyone
get the
get aluminum
aluminum
T-track?
T-track?
Um,
Orange
one of the places I
aluminum.
like is Orange Aluminum, and another place I like is the good old Amazon. You? How about you, Chris? I mean, Russ?
Hi, hi, hi. I haven't used any of it. I don't use it. The old stick it down and go with it.
Because I got these. Speaking of T-tracks, I got these pretty at on Amazon, and they're meant for my. I was going to do. Oh, it's for the new machine that I'm building, but it's not until after I build the house, so don't expect anything soon. But one thing that I will um, not caution you, but that I will make you aware about with T-tracks, and you're all probably aware of this, but this is something that you need to be reminded of it. Um, most common T-tracks you're looking at half there's that camera. Half an inch high
Yeah.
by 3/4 wide. Okay, that's pretty
Mm-hmm.
standard. And then the width here on the inside, the width is what it
Five
is.
eighths. Yeah.
Yeah, something in that neighborhood. Now, here's the thing: a certain T tracks have a width that fits almost all of them have a width that fit a regular 1/4 inch bolt. Okay, so you got a 1/4 inch bolt that can go right through there. No problem. Use your 1/4 inch bolts. However, be aware because there are some specialty tracks, like for instance, Craig is one of them. There are some tracks that they have a wider track on the inside. If you order, as I did, as I made the mistake of doing, if you order T-bolts, okay, make sure those T-bolts, I mean, I ordered T-bolts for T-tracks. Well, the T-bolts that I ordered were 1/4 inch T-bolts, and they didn't fit in my track. It was too wide. So either you got to get a grinder and grind down every single one of the T-bolts, so much for, doing something real quick, or you're going to have to get, the right T-tracks. So be careful with that. Be careful with that.
Pay attention.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. And with that, folks, I believe we'll leave you at 10 p.m. tonight. 10 p.m. tonight. Al and I, and maybe Russ will join us. Al and I will be chatting about in the retro show that we're doing, the retro podcast. Still don't know what to call it because two old guys in their 50s and 60s talking about 70s and 80s is just a little too long of a commercial. I mean, of a title. So I was thinking of calling it the retro podcast. I don't know, but we'll call it something interesting. And I still, as of yet, have not gotten around to it.
Yes, you do. It's right there.
Yeah, I still haven't gotten around to putting it up to put the audio podcast, the first episode on the Apple world, but I will. I'm still catching up from. I got a lot of orders from of CNC controllers, folks, and I'm knocking them out, and people are getting them in 4 days now. So I'm building them rather quick, and I'm playing catch up for the. Well, I already caught up to the ones from December 26th, but I want to get ahead of, and the orders keep coming in. While they do, I never get ahead. Well, I got my guys working on it, so it won't be long. And likewise, I owe you guys some projects. A few of the projects that I mentioned here, I do plan on cutting them all, and I'll probably do them all in one big batch when I get the machine up and cutting. And mark my words, folks. A couple years from now, mark my words. Go ahead, mark them. Go ahead, mark them.
Get your calendar out. Mark them down.
Mark my words, Russ. About 2 years from now, hopefully a lot less. I'm going to be when I'm up there on the. I'll be a lot more time. I'll be dedicating a lot more time in the shop, so you guys will be, for the next year or so.
Uh-oh.
I may be dedicating a lot less time, but you'll be seeing a lot more construction. But you will be seeing. But I'm going to try to keep up with all the weekly casts, anyways. Although I might not be doing a lot of soldering with Javi. So have a
I
wonderful
hear
day,
that.
guys, and good night. And Andrew, I'm going up there on the 29th. That's going to be. So if you're in the mood for some burning of wood, the 30th and the 31st is a good day. I'm going to be going up
So
there
in
the
the mood for
29th.
some.
So if you're up for it, Andrew, I could I'll
He
cut
might
some
be
more
in the
bamboo
mood for
for you to
some.
burn. I got plenty of wood.
He might be
Anyway.
in the mood for burning some meat too, like barbecue. So
Oh yeah, I'll
keep that in
definitely
mind.
I'll bring all that. I could do that. Just coordinate with me in case you're hungry. So I'll make sure to bring food, because until I get that permit secured, I'm basically, it's day trips to the. I'm still staying close by, but you know, because of my
Right.
nosy, butting his nose in other people's business neighbor, um, I can't, and you know what? From now on, Russ, if you like, go ahead and feel free to ask me. Is he gone yet? You know, that'll, and I'll give you the standard. No, not yet, but hopefully. Nah, we joke. We
I'll
joke.
keep that
All
in
right.
mind.
Meanwhile,
Yes.
meanwhile, I will say this as before I sign off. I don't know if I mentioned it before, but my other neighbor, I want to thank publicly. I want to thank. I'll call him D and S.
Doug.
I won't Doug. Okay, so you said his name. Uh, Thanks,
Only
Doug.
his first.
Only his first name. I'm not mentioning anything else. But Doug, Sue, you guys were absolutely fantastic. My wife and I were up there on over New Year's, and they invited us to dinner. And I had Sue made the most delicious. Uh, it's potatoes, and they're baked, but they're peeled and pieces of potatoes. It's
Hmm.
roasted potatoes. That's what I can call it.
Yeah.
Roasted potatoes, uh, with butter. Oh, it's just carrots. My wife adored
Oh,
the
jeez, man.
beans, the green beans and stuff, and beans of all types. And a roast, a wonderful, delicious roast. And
You ain't got hungry yet?
man, it was absolutely the. And I just ate an hour ago, and I could go for that again. You know what? I'm gonna make some.
Uh,
I'm gonna make something with potatoes tomorrow. Mark my words. So, folks, yes, the Andrew, let me know, please. I will be there. I will be there. Let me look at the calendar again. Yeah, I'll only be there the weekend of the 30th and 31st. I mean, I'm gonna be there till probably the 4th, but I know you work during the week. But 30th is a Saturday, the 31st is a Sunday, and I would love to have you and your family, or you and your son, or let Cal go fishing the whole time. Not a problem. We'll we'll do the work. We'll let him enjoy himself. Of course, let kids do that. Kids deserve time off. They'll suffer enough when they're older. We know that. So anyway, folks, have a wonderful week. And in 2 hours, or rather, oh, holy cow, in 40 minutes is our retro
yes.
podcast, same bat channel. And we'll be talking about Saturday morning cartoons. Now I got to do some research on set. No, I remember.
I
Luckily,
remember a few.
I remember a few. So we'll chat about them then. Good night, all. Have a
Good night,
wonderful,
everybody.
wonderful